This week on Across the Arrowverse, we cross over with The Exorcist with Constantine episodes 8 and 9. Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Matthew Vose.
And I'm Catherine Vose.
So since the Arrowverse has formally finished for this season, we are back on Constantine. Over the winter months, we got through episodes 1 through 7 of Constantine, as well as some movies and other stuff. So we are now back with episodes 8 and 9, The Saint of Last Resort, parts 1 and 2. So this covers the break that would have happened for Constantine. Part 1 was up to December. And then he gets shot, and then part 2 happens from January onwards. So there's about a month's break there.
Oh, I did think they had some heavy recapping at the start of part 2, so I was wondering if there'd been a bit of a break. But...
Yeah, so that covers the sort of mini hiatus they did there. What felt like a more natural hiatus that we used to get. We used to only get a few weeks, and now it's much, much longer, it would seem. Overall thoughts, what did you think of this two-parter?
I enjoyed it. I feel like the season as a whole has ramped up. You said we got through episodes 1 to 6 over Christmas, and I think that's exactly the right wording, because I did feel that it was a little bit of a slog at times.
Right.
But I feel like the series has revved up. It's got more exciting. Some of the things that they set up in the first 6 episodes are starting to come to fruition. I think they may have jumped the shark in certain aspects of it, as we'll come to that already.
8 episodes into a show.
But maybe that's just for my taste. I don't know. but I found it a fun watch. I actively enjoyed watching it, even if I did snigger into my sleeve a couple of times. And I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing the next few episodes.
Okay. I quite enjoyed it. I feel like I can already seeing it getting a bit formulaic through these episodes. You know, someone's in danger, they go and figure it out, they do an exorcism of some sort. I think we said this already towards the end, it was beginning to get that way. The twist here was, it's John himself, possessed by a proper demon.
Yes.
Okay. But it was very good. I quite like that we've settled into some very well-established characters now. Our main 3. Zed, Chaz, and John himself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that nun woman, Annie, might become more of a character. I don't know.
Oh, she's a bit of a misery guts, I hope not.
But she was getting a bit more work to do in this that worked quite well for me, I think, as a counterpoint to the rest of them.
Yes, I do agree with that. I think she needs to lighten up a little bit and stop bitching about Newcastle.
Well, we could all stop going on about that Newcastle thing. That is definitely the downfall of the show, I think. It feels like they're coming to it that people don't know what happens. They're covering it, but they're just covering it so much.
Yeah.
It's just... I really want this show to have had a second season so I can see what it's like without that hanging over it. But I think she has to be serious, because if she is going to be a main character, she has to be a counterpoint to the rest of them. And none of the rest of them are that serious. Zed is, but I don't think it suits her when she is.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll find out next week. So join us next week for that. Anyway, on this, so he goes to investigate babies being stolen by demon thing. We have our setting up that there's these demons that Zed can see that he claims can't exist on Earth. So that's some nice foreshadowing right there by telling us about the demons.
Yeah.
And then they go through demony things and eventually stop the demons.
What was it, me, or did those demony things look like a character that we've had in Doctor Who? There was something about the claws and the way the demon... Maybe...
Well, the woman demon.
Yeah.
Not the demon that comes to the second half of the...
No, the woman demon. The woman demon, the ugly bus. The ugly bus boots. I don't know. There was...
Lamash 2.
That's the one. I don't know. There's so many silly words in this show. You can't expect me to remember them all.
Yeah. So the other demon was Invunche.
No, she was an Invunche, wasn't she? Wasn't Lamash 2 the one that invaded his body?
No, I think they just... I think it would just, there happened to be this other demon there.
Fair enough.
Or there were two demons, but she wasn't one of them.
Yeah, no. So it was her ex-boyfriend, wasn't it? And he released him with his magic totem.
Well, Pizazu was the demon who took him over because the Enchante was scared of Pizazu, so he knew that because he used Pizazu to defeat Lashante.
Yep.
Lamash too. Join us next week when we'll double check names before we record.
John.
John, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because this brief plot description here doesn't mention the Unvunche, but then does mention it on the second half. So,
but
sorry, you thought the demon was like a thing from? Yeah, it was a very Buffy, Doctor Who-esque demon, wasn't it? Yeah, with the claws and the distorted face, the prosthetic,
and also the fact that she was a little bit Scooby-Dooing it. Oh, I'm all innocent, and then you rip off her mask, and then she's like an evil demon woman.
So it was a reverse Scooby-Doo, putting on the mask of a normal human.
Exactly, basically. I also thought, if I'm ever going to be in a hospital in Latin America, I do not want to be in a hospital which has big windows open to the nature and all of the insects. What they didn't show in that was all of the insects that would have been inside that hospital room.
It was a nunnery, right?
Yes.
Not a hospital.
No, okay.
So it was maybe like it was a chapel or a church.
Hospital ward, I don't know. The nunnery maternity wing.
See, that first episode felt like a very normal episode. Demony things going on, he goes to investigate it, gets reminded about Newcastle, they drive out the demon. And then that second part, the first part of season 2,
yes,
of the second half of the season, sorry, that's actually John's possessed, so we need to get people there to help him, we need to unravel it. We have other demony stuff going on, with the snake from the garden turning up and all of that.
That was a bit weird.
But the revelations about these warlock dudes who are apparently the Rising Darkness themselves.
Yeah.
So that's starting to give us a clue of what's coming, but it's also implying that the angels didn't know anything about it. So are they being masked in the form of like Jedi and Sith, or?
I have no idea. I think this is where I'm just like, it's all starting to get a bit over convoluted and silly, and bizarrely, just a little bit awkward with its religiousness.
Yeah.
Like the attitude towards religion in it is a little bit awkward for me.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit like, oh, really?
Yeah, it's like someone went through the Bible, particularly, if not other holy texts, and sort of decided to dredge up some, oh, here's an interesting thing. Hey, there's a snake. Let's do some fan fiction about the snake and turn it into a thing. And it feels deeper than the actual metaphor that we're supposed to take for these things. So, which could possibly work, but the way it's portrayed leaves us scoffing a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, really? Really? Is it just that we know a bit too much about it in places? When he's referencing Pizazu, which is I think a South American demon, we don't know anything about it. So we're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It turns out he's god of demons of the winds or something. But
like that thing about the whatever they were being, was it Eve's younger sisters?
Enchante, yeah.
And like, seriously, give me a break.
Was Lamashto was Eve's younger sister, I think. Yeah. Oh, yes, one of Eve's sisters.
Right.
Just
give me some dragons any day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or make it really simpler stuff.
Yeah.
Are they saving the big stuff? So they're having to pull on these different threads that we go, I'm a little bit incredulous about that, but is that why that doesn't work for us?
I suppose that it's just, whilst it is I mean, I was genuinely enjoying the show. I was just going, Jesus, this is convoluted. Can I have a crib guide to who all these people are, please? But on the other side, I was more interested in hearing more about Zed's backstory.
Yeah, so that was the other bit that came out. This was basically the only other plot that existed, was that first episode, guys trying to abduct Zed, and she fights them off.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. We know it's her father.
Yeah.
But I don't think we know anything more than that.
Well, we know that she was kept in a cage in her room, and it's something to do with her visions. So clearly her visions are something...
Useful, powerful,
more... But not all of these people chasing her seem to be blood relatives, and yet they call him father.
Henchman,
Which makes me wonder if there's some kind of weird cult.
Okay, yeah, like the father is a role. Yeah, okay.
That was my take on it anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we think Zed did in that? Is it interesting? Do we think she portrays it well, the actress, or was it just, well, we need to give her something to do this episode?
I think she portrays it well. I think what's confusing me is not necessarily her portrayal of this. It is the choice that they've made to have the character go, oh, well, I thought I'd escaped it all, so I chose not to tell these people that I'm living with anything about the risk that there are people chasing me because I have magical powers, even though I'm living in a house with people that do lots of stuff with magical powers.
Yeah.
I find that, I mean, maybe there will be a reason that will make that clearer to me, but it's one of those occasions where, which I hate, where secrets leads to forced conflict or unnecessary danger.
Yeah.
And the only reason there seems to be for the person keeping something a secret is so that the writer's room could add that bit of the narrative in later in the series.
And in fact, they just come up with stuff and then they have to come up with a reason why it's not been mentioned before.
Exactly.
Yeah, is that the real reason we see so many secrets on these shows? Because the writers just come up with it and then have to explain it backwards.
But we're only 7 episodes in, so surely they would have... Well, I don't know. My assumption is that they had the main arcs for the characters, at least, if not the dialogue. You know, the main arcs for the characters plotted out before they even started the season.
You'd expect so, but she wasn't in that pilot. She wasn't there from the beginning. So did they recast her to give someone for him to exposit at? And then they started figuring out what they'd do with her a couple of episodes in when they've rewritten everything.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I quite like her. I think she's a pretty good character. But by and large, she's either a bystander or just a bit useful, but without knowing it.
Yeah.
She doesn't bring anything to it herself yet. It's her take on things, or suddenly she has an ability and it does something, but it's not like she's driving the action forward.
I'm expecting her story arc to be tied together with the main story.
Okay, the Rising Darkness.
The Rising Damp, yeah.
Thank you. Chaz didn't get much to do.
Chaz did what Chaz does.
Yeah.
Chaz is solid and dependable.
A heavy.
He's
B.A. Baracus.
He is, but he is not afraid of flying. No, he is very much devoted to Constantine and Constantine's cause, and he's solid and he's dependable. I still don't think they've given us adequate backstory on Chaz yet.
No, yeah. I agree. There was a hint about it because that was one of the good things with Pizarro was him saying stuff to people.
Yes. To
try to make them kill him or to aggravate them to stop the ceremony and so on. And one thing was about, I think, Chaz's family, a wife and daughters or something. So. And
hasn't Chaz been off to visit his daughters?
I'm not sure. I think they're dead.
Oh.
I think there's a thing has happened and he has survived because he's now unkillable or can come back to life or has many lives or something.
But
I don't know. Okay.
So what do you think is going to happen with the Rising Dark? How do you think these mysterious what are they called? Bustashtu? I felt like it sounded a bit Hungarian. These mystical...
In a kind of from the old country.
From the old...
Brujeria.
Yeah, I don't know what Brujeria. I don't know why I felt that was a bit Hungarian, given that they came from Chile. But the Brujeria. What do we think the Brujeria want?
I'm not sure. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be the basic plot of they want power or to bring hell to earth, and that's why the barrier's being weakened.
Because that seems to be what all the demons who are helping them out want. They're like, they've promised to weaken the barrier and then we'll be on Earth, wreaking havoc on Earth. I'm like, well, what do the Brugeria want?
Yeah.
And how does a lot of demons...
Make it sound like a gelateria.
Brugeria. But like, having a whole load of demons wreaking havoc on Earth, how does that fit in with their plans? It doesn't sound very pleasant.
Well, I mean, Rain wanted to turn Earth into a Krypton.
There seems to be a lot of destruction. I just think, do you know what? If I had amazing magical powers and I could control everyone to my evil ends, I'd like everyone to do a bit of a litter pick. Maybe plant some more flowers, make some nice cakes.
All your evil ends. Oh, Catherine.
But I'd like to live in a nice, clean world. I don't want demons wreaking havoc everywhere.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why a show like Buffy is so lauded, because it did it so well. Angel Season 2 has a plot... Oh, spoilers for Buffy if you've never seen it. Angel Season 2 has a plot to summon a demon who will bring hell on Earth, and Spike helps Buffy beat him because he's like, I quite like Earth. We've got good music and Happy Meals on legs.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Exactly. Like, oh gosh, which one? I read a lot of vampire books, but one of the books with vampires in them. And I can't remember which one it was, but there were rules around not creating too many vampires.
Yeah.
Because then they get discovered, and then it would make it harder for the rest of them to live their happy lives.
I feel like that's Anne Rice. I feel like it's one of the major writers who's done something like that.
Yeah. And maybe it's a theme in a number of them, where you've got like worlds where vampires and humans are coexisting, albeit in the shadow. You don't want everything to be controlled by the vampires and be hell on Earth. Yeah. You like things a bit calmer.
Yeah. Yeah, be the dominant species, but as an apex predator, there can't be too many of you.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
So I suspect that's what it's going to come to. It's just going to be they want power and destruction, and we have to find a way to stop them somehow. And stopping them will probably be sacrifice.
Are we going to have a group chant of some Latin words at a shimmering barrier
probably.
Designed to simulate the breach between worlds?
Probably.
And is it going to like shift a little bit as the demons try and come through? And then we'll go unctum unctum porto portas and it'll finish.
Yeah, probably. I suspect it's going to be some sort of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the sacrifice is going to be Manny.
Ooh.
Or he's going to have to sacrifice his angel status or something.
Would it work if we sacrificed Chaz, knowing that he'd come back to life again?
This is why I think there's going to be some sort of limit to Chaz. That he can only do it X number of times or something, rather than he is just immortal now.
Yeah.
But Manny feels like the one, not necessarily killing him, but because we've talked about angels on Earth, doing that sort of shift, and then, they were hoping Season 2 would be him trying to recover angel status, or being a minor antagonist or something.
Oh, possibly. Yeah.
To maybe, because he started to come into it just a little bit more, I feel. And just was starting to get more questions going back the other way than him being all-knowing.
Yeah. Okay, so we've watched 8 episodes now?
9.
9. And there are 3 more?
4 more.
4 more? Sorry. I pay such close attention to these things. So we've watched 9 and there are 4 more.
Yeah.
So that's 13 episodes in total. No, yes, I can add up. That seems a very short season for America.
It does. There is a note here. I'm not reading the end, but it says one of the showrunners released a script for the 14th episode that would have aired had the series continued. So it's entirely possible we are going to get zero closure on this.
This is what I was about to say. Right. Does this season actually end, or was the plug pulled while they went, we're spending a lot of money on you, and all you're doing is silly long names from the deepest, darkest depths of the Bible, and a lot of Latin chanting, and no one's watching you. Boop!
Yeah. So, the Firefly thing, it just stops at some point. But these episodes, that's something worth mentioning, these episodes you could see the budget. These were high production value episodes. The nunnery, hospital, chapel, church thing looked fantastic. It was well lit. The special effects were good. We had a range of demons and things going on certainly in that second episode.
Yeah, someone threw some money at this show and clearly didn't get the returns that they wanted.
No. I mean, it was bringing in, according to this, it was bringing in about 3.5 million viewers, which is not terrible. But for whatever it cost, that might have been terrible.
Yeah. So, if there was a 14th script and it stops after 13, are we expecting it to end on some kind of horrendous cliffhanger?
Possibly.
Possibly. Maybe we could do a reading over the podcast of the script
of
for episode
script.
14.
Yeah. It's
I'll be Constantine.
It's possible it's not even going to be a cliffhanger. It's just going to be an episode, and then there are no more episodes.
Yeah.
Like this one, just and then we're done. Yeah. Which at least Firefly, that final episode is such a great episode.
Yeah, I feel like Firefly had a season.
Yeah, it did kind of work as this is them becoming a family.
Yes.
But I'm not sure Constantine's going to get to that point.
No, I think we're just going to stop.
And especially because we've had Constantine in other shows without Chaz, without Zed, and now possibly there's going to be some sort of Constantine animated series. So will they try to continue this story if they never finished it?
They'd be better off possibly just to start from scratch.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
good.
We shall see.
We'll find out. So we've got 4 more of these to watch. We've got some Smallville, we've got some Flash, we've got some DC animated shows. So lots to talk about during the summer hiatus.
Yep.
So that wraps us up for another week. If you have thoughts, questions or comments, you can use the hashtag ATAV on Twitter. Or you can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram as Eloquent Gushing. If you want to help support us, please check out our Patreon page where you can get access to exclusive content across all our shows. Go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing. And don't forget to visit the homepage, eloquentgushing.com, where you can find the other shows across the network and subscribe to our weekly newsletter with all the goings on. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you across the Arrowverse.
Across the Arrowverse is an Eloquent Gushing production. For more shows you'll love, please visit eloquentgushing.com.